Hi, this is Morley and this is the Wire. In this video, we are going to look at the public hearings that took place in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania on voter irregularities. A big shout out to my new subscribers. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so, as that would greatly help fight the censorship and support the channel. Before we get started here, I would like to personally thank each and every one of these brave men and women that came forward to testify today. These people are going to be ridiculed by their families, they're going to be ridiculed by their friends, their co-workers, they're even going to receive death threats to their immediate family and their children, if you can believe that. As far as I'm concerned, each and every person that testified today is a hero, and I will brook no argument with anyone on that subject. Well, surprise, surprise, the media isn't covering this pretty much whatsoever. This is the CNN politics page. Well, no surprise there that they're not covering it. But even Fox News, this is the front page of Fox News. Hardly even a mention of it, other than the votes in Pennsylvania are basically going to be stayed from certification pending the outcome of this hearing. So if there's any good news that Fox has to report, it's that. These votes are officially stripped from Joe Biden until it's decided the outcome. Due to the lack of media coverage, I need your help, folks. I need you to share this video far. I need you to share this video wide. I would like you to just take a few minutes and share this video on every social media platform that you happen to be a part of. The very republic in which we live is at stake. Do you think I'm being melodramatic? I'm not. There isn't going to be a tomorrow. This will happen again and again and again unless we do something about it now. Please share this video if you would. We heard everybody testify, from everything from the GOP observers not being able to observe or 20 feet away or something like that, to people not even being allowed to vote. There was one woman that actually came to vote, and she was told that she voted already. They didn't even so much as ask her her name, and they just flat out told her that she voted already. Does that sound like a fair election to you? It shouldn't. I'm going to be showing a few clips from the hearing today. The entire thing was over 3 hours long, and I understand that people don't have time to watch it in its entirety. But it's important for you to see these clips so you get a feel of what it was like to actually be there. There were a lot of poignant moments in this, and I'm just going to share a few of these clips. Watch this one here. This is absolutely staggering.
So at the very beginning of the chart, where there's a circle, it says on election day. What that indicates is there is a spike in loaded votes, 337,000 plus or minus some votes that were added in there in one big batch. So that was an anomaly in the reporting. Normally, you would expect to see a smooth curve going up, not any big spikes. That's kind of what Greg was talking about, the anomalies of loading and uploading those votes. So that big spike that occurs there is a prime indicator of fraudulent voting.
And that's 604,000 votes in 90 minutes. Is that right?
Correct. This is 337 votes, 337,000 votes in that
period of time.
Yes.
And when you look at this entire curve with all these spikes, can you calculate how much of a vote that accounted for Biden and how much for Trump?
Close to 600,000. I think our figures were about 570 some odd thousand that all those spikes represented over time.
For Biden?
Correct.
And how much for Trump?
I think it was a little over 3,200.
So 570,000 votes went to Joe Biden and 3,200 to Donald Trump. Well, math wasn't my best subject in school, and I'm not a mathematician, but my mind tells me that that is statistically impossible without any outside corruption. You be the judge of this. I'm not telling you how to think in all this, people. I want to make that abundantly clear. I'm just going to present the evidence that was presented at the hearing today, and you decided whether or not there's any voter fraud or not. So here's the testimony that the observers were not able to actually oversee the counting of the ballots. I've said it before, I'll say it again. This is not behavior that is consistent with somebody that has nothing to hide.
First, the Philadelphia Board of Elections processed hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots with zero civilian oversight or observation. The mail-in ballots were handled, processed, opened, and counted in Hall F of the Convention Center. Hall F is a vast room, approximately 350 feet by 350 feet. That's about 120,000 square feet. The Board of Elections erected a fence approximately 50 feet into the hall that ran the length of the room. All observers were corralled behind the fence. More than 100 board workers processed and opened mail-in ballots on the other side of the fence. These masked workers were arranged throughout the 120,000 square feet at a distance from the observers of about 10 feet to more than 200 feet away from us. Unlike what some may have reported in the media, the vast majority, and I'd estimate at least 96% of the board workers were processing mail-in ballots 15 to 200 plus feet from us. Due to the distance of the workers from the erected fences, it was impossible for me or any observer to see what the workers were doing with any type of specificity. The observers were not able to challenge any decision or determination being made about the processing of these mail-in ballots. No civilian oversight over hundreds of thousands of mail-in ballots, zero opportunity for observers to observe, challenge, or inspect the mail-ins being opened. I find this to be an issue and to be irregular.
That is absolutely egregious. There's no other way to describe it. How is it possible that no one from the GOP is even allowed within 10 feet of the counting of the ballots when the election rules clearly state that they are to be at least able to observe? And they still say, oh no, we did nothing wrong, everything's fine here, nothing to see. Absolutely incredible. Even President Trump made an appearance at the hearing. Well, sort of. He appeared by phone. Listen to what he has to say. I'm sure you'll find it highly entertaining, to say the least.
I will introduce to you now, Mr. President. You are connected.
Thank you very much. I've been watching the hearing on OAN and it's on a couple of other great networks, but I really appreciate being asked to speak. And I'm in the Oval Office right now, and it's very interesting to see what's going on. And this was an election that we won easily. We won it by a lot. A big energy official was on this morning on a important show and said there's no way Trump didn't win Pennsylvania because the energy industry was all for him. I saw, with my eyes what happened, and he told me horror stories, absolute horror stories. So this was very sad to say it. This election was rigged, and we can't let that happen. We can't let it happen for our country. And this election has to be turned around because we won Pennsylvania by a lot, and we won all of these swing states by a lot. Anybody watching television the night of the election was saying, wow, I was called by the biggest political people, congratulations, sir, on a big win. And all of a sudden, ballots were dumped all over the place, and a lot of horrible things happened. And everybody in that room, I want to thank all of the people that signed affidavits and all of the speakers. You're fantastic people. You're great patriots. I want to thank the senators for being there. And it's so important. Day before Thanksgiving, it really represents somebody. Between the voter suppression and all of the horrible things that happened to poll watchers, we have poll watcher affidavits piled up to the ceiling. They're all over. They were treated horribly all over this, all of these swing states. I mean, virtually all of the swing states. And many other things were happening that were horrible, just horrible. But the poll watchers weren't allowed to watch. They were, in many cases, whisked out of the room, not only into pens that were 20, 30, 40, 60, 100 feet away, where you couldn't even see. They were using binoculars. People are reporting that they had to use binoculars, and that didn't work. If you were a Republican poll watcher, you were treated like a dog. And the Democrats had no problem, but they were rough. They were literally pushed out, and it was rough tactics. This is what happened here. This is not the United States of America, what happened, and I think everybody knows that. That's why you're there, and that's why you're so vehement about it. We have many cases of people walking in. A woman, an elderly woman, walks in looking forward to voting November 3rd and says, "Oh, good, where would I go about voting?" "I'm sorry, you've already voted. Your ballot is in." I said, "No, I didn't vote. "No, your ballot is in. You've already voted." In all cases for Biden, by the way. She said, no, I want to vote." "Nope, your ballot is in." And then they give her a provisional ballot to sign, which goes nowhere. It's a disgrace that this is happening to our country. We won this election by a lot. We got 74 million votes. And if you would have said 74 million votes the day before the election, every single professional in the business would have said there's no way of beating that. We got 11 million votes more than we had 4 years before in 2016. And we got many votes more than Ronald Reagan had when he won 49 states. And nobody would have said we even had a chance of losing. And all you had to do is take a look at the numbers at 10 o'clock in the evening when everybody thought the election was virtually over. And then very weird things happened. But they're not weird to professionals, and they're not weird to Dominion and other people that operate machines, and they're not weird to the people that handle the ballots, where they were flooding the market. People were getting 2 and 3 and 4 ballots in their home. People that were dead were signing up for ballots. Not only were they coming in and putting in a ballot, but dead people were requesting ballots, and they were dead for years, and they were requesting ballots. And the whole world is watching us. The whole world is watching the United States of America, and we can't let them get away with it. And we have judges that are afraid to make a decision. We have judges that don't want to do the same thing. Well, a very good lawyer said, "Well, sir, I mean, that's a big statement for a judge to overthrow an election." I said, "Really? If he got hundreds of thousands of votes more than he was entitled to get through all of the things that I'm listening to right now, and you're just covering a few of them, we have hundreds and hundreds of affidavits of stories that are even worse than the stories I'm hearing. Why wouldn't they overturn an election? Certainly overturn it in your state, because we have other states that are just as bad. If you look at Michigan with Detroit, you look at the things that happened in Detroit, where you have a voter, but you have more votes than you have voters. You take a look at Detroit, Michigan. You have more votes than you have voters. And then you have two people that don't want to certify. They don't want to certify, and they're harassed violently, and they turned off the cameras during the harassment for 2 hours. And then they said, wow, and they were afraid, and they voted, and then they went back to sign, and they couldn't do it because they said, we can't do it because this is corrupt. This is horrible what's taking place. Think of it, more votes than you have voters. But that was the least of it. They have things that were as bad as that. And this is going on all over. We're doing very well in a lot of states. A lot of good things are happening in Georgia. We're getting little help from government, but a lot of good things are happening in Georgia, Wisconsin, in Michigan. They're seeing what happened in Detroit. And we sure are looking at what's happening in Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. What happened in Philadelphia, they keep the poll watchers not only in pens, but they keep them out of the building. And the only reason they got back into the building was they got a court order. And then the definition of back into the building was very far away where they couldn't see anything. And they talk about closed circuit television, except you couldn't see it because the picture was so unclear you didn't even know what they were doing. They could have been playing a baseball game. So it's a very sad thing for our country to have this. And they have to turn over the results. It would be easy for me to say, oh, let's worry about 4 years from now. No, this election was lost by the Democrats. They cheated. It was a fraudulent election. They flooded the market. They defrauded everybody of ballots. And I just want to thank everybody for being there. You're doing a tremendous service. This is a very important moment in the history of our country. And you're doing a tremendous service to our country. And don't worry about bravery, because the people that talk the most, they're not the ones you have to worry about. And these are all talkers. They intimidate. But these are not people that you're going to ultimately have to. They push you around. They pushed our poll workers out. Our poll watchers were pushed out of the building. Okay, some got back in, they were put in the pens. But these are not people. Don't be intimidated by these people. But they're bad people. They're horrible people. And they're people that don't love our country. So we don't have to worry about 4 years right now. We have to worry about what happened on November 3rd and previous to November 3rd. And by the way, after November 3rd, when people put votes in and they put them in illegally, they put them in after the polls closed. And one of our great Supreme Court justices made mention of that. And I can't imagine that any justice or anybody looking at it could be thrilled when they vote after the election is over. So I want to thank everybody very much for being there. I want to thank the state Senate, respected people, tremendous people, and you're doing a tremendous service for our country. And if something was done wrong, if this election was won fraudulently, and that's what happened, it was a fraud. And we're talking about, very importantly, many more ballots, many more votes than the number we need. In other words, if we needed 50,000 votes, we're not talking about we found 9 dead people that voted. Of course, there were many more than that, many numbers that nobody even believes. Now, we're talking about numbers that are far in excess of the 50,000, far in excess of another state where we lost by 10,000. And they went absolutely wild because we got far more votes than they thought possible. And they've just stepped on the gas, and they got caught. Just like they got caught spying on my campaign, they got caught doing this. So I really appreciate it, and the country appreciates it, and we have to turn the election over because there's no doubt we have all the evidence, we have all the affidavits, we have everything. All we need is to have some judge listen to it properly without having a political opinion or having another kind of a problem, because we have everything. And by the way, the evidence is pouring in now as we speak.
Make no mistake about it, people. The Kraken has been released. There's no refuting that now. There's going to be more of these hearings in the future. I believe there's going to be one in Arizona, and there's going to be one in Michigan in the coming week, in about a week or so, as far as I understand. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot more of the same testimony that we just heard today, and rightly so. This has to get sorted. The future of the Republic is at stake here. Like I said at the beginning of this video, please share this video at all costs. If you could do that, that would be greatly appreciated. And while you're at it, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much for coming along with me to this video, and God bless.